All right. This is Letters to Ewan, number 95. This one's called Narcissism of a Child. Dear Ewan, beer number 3 is in front of me on this last perfect night. Looking at my list of letter ideas, I'm going to finish up with childhood narcissism. It's a hot word, narcissism. What an insult to hurl at somebody. I love this sequence. Am I a narcissist? A narcissist doesn't ask that question. Oh, phew. I think that's generally true. And I think that selfishness is healthy. The I is the last thing included when someone is trying to include everybody. We're all caught in a setup of resentment. Ouch. Narcissism is often seen as an overfixation of the self. I think that people who think they aren't narcissists actually are. They just have an understanding that if they show it, then they will be exposed, shamed, and shunned. If they made it further than that, then they often are mistaking the area after the first hurdle as the finish line. Narcissism is basically an issue of capacity, and the shaming of it is part of the problem. When it's shamed, we can't look at it and be with it. All children are narcissists. They can't compute that not everything is about them. Here's some great examples. When people cluster around a child and say, "Oh, wow, you're amazing," the child thinks something like, "My amazingness is making all these people ooh and ah." When those same people are upset, and even when it's not because of the child thinks something like, "These people are upset because I'm not being amazing enough." It's subtle, but it's never caught. And the bug of it rides our programming all the way into adulthood. It's why when one partner is upset, the other partner often thinks, "I'll never be good enough for them," instead of, "They're dysregulated and I can do simple things like listening or running them a bath to help. They're going to have to go through this in their own time." It's just too easy and too tempting to think we're taking responsibility merely by making it about ourselves. It gets worse when we take the blame because now we've convinced the other person to reify our narcissism. It can give a kind of security when someone affirms our identity and that their nervous system is invested in us staying the same too. The trap is sprung. People don't get it. I'm talking about capacity, not right and wrong. A child can't not make everything about themselves. The bugs that are created in childhood can't be examined because all the shame sends them into hiding. Every time someone is worried about being selfish, I know that they have bugs to camouflage the bugs that were appropriate to a child. And the memories. People always take their adult selves into their memories and stories of pain, but that wasn't who they were. They were this innocent thing whose brain couldn't understand the level of worlding going on around them. A 3-year old doesn't even understand that people can lie. They think all minds are one. I used to do an exercise where people imagined being their adult selves, watching their child versions relive memories. I would tell them to just watch, not interact, and let the child see them watching. It snaps something loose. I'm not the child who went through that. It's sadly, usually humiliating for an adult to realize that they're using childhood thought structure. I find it liberating. Some fucking bug from 40 years ago gets exposed, and now I get to move toward my proper ages thinking. There's no objective narcissism. If you're the only you, then you're a beginner in ego development. If someone acts as if they're a part of something bigger, then they're a higher grade level. Thinking of ourselves as the earth is the grade level we could be at. People's reaction to their narrative being interrupted is usually violent. How dare you interrupt my moment by pointing out that I'm using thought structures that make everything that's happening create a meaning about whether I'm being loved properly? It's not a shame. Our whole species is basically stuck at don't be explicit about how selfish you are. The bugs of this is all about me are firmly entrenched beneath a ton of camouflage. It blocks so much love. Love is inversely tangible in proportion to its velocity of asking the world to be different. That was a dope sentence. It shines when asking for zero. The feeling of love is never a reason. We just use reasons to remind ourselves to look, i.e., something happened, somebody died, somebody dumped us. We're mistaking the ferryman for the light. With ALIFTIMTS, I do nothing and I feel loved. He's just the right kind of orangutan for whatever kind of monkey I am. It's just a match. He's not even really trying. He stops me from getting hit by buses and holds me the way I want to be held. He's not particularly interested in making sure I'm happy. He prefers when I'm happy. He wants to hold me the way I want to be held. His preference is my preference. We match. I wouldn't have enjoyed this if I had made his closetedness about me. I can't call it love if he's not willing to come out of the closet for me. I deserve someone who wants to hold my hand in public. I'm not good enough if he's not willing to update his identity to keep us together. Those are devilish statements because they glance at truth but deliver meaning violently. I feel loved by ALIFTIMTS. Maybe I deserve more, but I'm getting a lot. I'm getting so much that I feel sated. Maybe I'll be pitied because I deserve more. On my deathbed, I think I'll be glad I met him. I think people are reacting to the bug that if they don't save me from loving a closeted guy who doesn't like to wax about complexity and meaning, then their lovableness is threatened. How could they be lovable if they let Bloss make this mistake? My childhood narcissism wants it to be more perfect. It wants it to be easier for others to reify. But my friends aren't reifying. They're concerned. You deserve someone who can meet you on every level. There isn't any philosophy on the planet that will stop me from loving this enigma of a man. I couldn't have ordered him custom so well. I'm down to be loved on every level, from every angle. And can someone explain, why do I feel so loved and safe? My best answer is, I just do. Maybe I'm a basic ass mofo who just needs hugs and help not getting hit by buses. Maybe I don't need a person who meets me on all levels. I'm okay with that. I like feeling safe. This safety sets a new standard for me on how safe I can feel. I'm not tolerating feeling less safe than this from any man I date or myself. It's a feeling, and when the feeling is in me, I lose the ability to care about what I'm supposed to deserve. I'm less narcissistic accepting love from ALIFTIMTS than someone who thinks I deserve more. What? Receiving the love that actually regulates me is less narcissistic than performing the love others can applaud. Mic drop. He's not my parent. He's the guy who makes sure I don't get hit by buses. I'm so glad that what I deserve is behind me. What's in front of me is my comfort. I've looked what I deserve and discipline in the eye so many times that a guy today thought of me like a soldier. That is the road under the bridge that Neo already knows. Doing what feels comfortable is choosing to leave the fucking matrix. If it's all about me, then the first thing that gets lost is my self-worth. If it's all about me, then I lose my relationship to my self-worth in lieu of making sure everybody feels good about my choices. If it's all about me, then I'm stuck sculpting a story where everybody understands why my happiness makes sense. If it's not about me, then I can feel safe when I feel safe. If it's not about me, then I can meet people right where they are and see what love means if nobody has to change. If it's not about me, then I can absorb whatever brings me comfort and feel comfortable. Favorite narcissistic lines. That doesn't land for me. Why the fuck would anyone have an inside track on how they occur to others? The only way out is by admitting that they have the most experience manipulating people to see them how they need to be seen. I dare them to admit it. I don't trust you. This person doesn't trust themselves because they think that people should somehow make themselves legible in order for them to get to stay the same. I want to hand them an air sickness baggie and say, "Welcome to life. It wiggles." If T and J, this is the third one. If T and J loved me, they wouldn't move to San Diego. Thank God they're not as codependent as me. Thank God they're following their bliss. They love, 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 love me. They love me enough to know that ultimately I want to love who they are and not who would help me not have to change. I can't wait to get home. How will people that I haven't written much about feel reading these letters? Love is and has never been dependent on my actions. They have the chance right now to feel all the love in their bodies. If I loved them, then I loved them. Sometimes I loved people and were no longer in alignment. I am not and have never been powerful enough to take love away or accidentally convince someone they weren't lovable. All my trying to convince people they are lovable is a collusion with the bug in all of us that gets off on trying to be lovable. That was a lie. I was a child when I thought that chaos could be all about me. But I was simple then. The easiest person to punish was me. Beer 4 is hitting hard, and I'll sign off here. Mike. P.S. I'm telling this as a story of love when I wake up.